All right, let's go to Sunday morning. We're back in London now.
Yes.
Los Angeles Rams.
I don't think we started. I think next week maybe is Germany.
There's Germany and Spain coming up over the next couple weeks. Then we're done with Europe. Rams and the Jags, Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Again, sleep schedules, man. Got to be up early every day. Every day this week, including check the mic at 9 a.m.
6:30 start for the Rams.
6:30 start. The West Coast team going to – this happened a couple weeks ago, right? Who was it? Somebody from the West Coast? No, it was Denver. I brought it up with the Mountain Time.
Mountain Time.
Yeah, look at them.
A little easier. It's a 7 a.m.
Look at their offense. They were sleepwalking. See? It's not easy for the West Coast teams. Rams favored by 3 here. A couple 4-2 teams. Should be a fun one.
Yeah. I do wonder if that – I mean, they're there for the week. They should adjust, but it's still pretty weird. It's a massive – I mean, that's 8 hours that they're shifting time zones for this.
Longer flight?
That's – well, yeah. Not – that's – I mean, yeah, it is, but it's not, like, wild.
It's just one of those things. Like, I'm always fascinated by players who are game time decisions, and then they go play. And it's like you were almost hurt enough to not play, and now you're going to go play in a game where a step means everything, right? And if you're only playing at 75%, like that can be disastrous when you're trying to keep up with high-end athletes. Then when you get into jet lag and all these, like these are high precision athletes. If you're just off a tick, it can have an effect. I'm not saying like, oh, take the Jags, obviously, but that stuff adds up, I think.
Yeah, it does. I'm the most fascinating thing to me about the Puka Nacua thing is like that's somewhere between an 8 and a 10 hour flight going back that way on where you don't have a ton of ability to move around and get yourself loose and all that kind of stuff unless you're Russell Wilson. If he isn't going to play, feels like back-to-back transatlantic flights from the West Coast is a bad thing for his ankle recovery. Now, if he is going to play, it also feels like it's not helping, but it doesn't matter. He's playing. So it's sort of like if you even bring him on the plane, if he doesn't play, it feels like you just set him back for a period of time. Now, maybe you only set him back a period of time that doesn't actually change the following play or no play, but it's not helpful.
Yeah, I'm not expecting Puka to play, but yeah, we're sitting here on a Thursday, and we never really know exactly. But I'm expecting him not to play. It looks like Trayvon Walker should be back. For the Jags, he had a minor wrist surgery a couple weeks ago that was only supposed to be like a 1 to 2 week injury. He'll be back. Or he came back last week but was limited in his snap count last week. I think the Jags they've got a pretty good defensive line with the different, Eric Armstead, when Walker's healthy, Josh Hines-Allen, the different types of bodies they could throw at you. I think that's going to be a huge factor in this game. Last week, Walker Little allowed 3 or 4 sacks, whatever that final number ended up being. He was in and around 4 sacks, we'll just say that.
I mean, the whole Jags offensive line, like this is the big thing in this game. The Jags offensive line got absolutely destroyed last week by Seattle. So that's relevant this week when you focus on Seattle's part of it. Can they do that again against a really bad offensive line? You would assume so. It's relevant in this game as well because actually the Jags offensive line from a pass blocking standpoint is usually pretty good. And has been for a couple of years. Like, it's not been a good offensive line, but it's been better pass blocking than it has been run blocking for the last few years. Now, this year, Liam Cohen comes in. The run game is turbocharged, and actually the offensive line is suddenly blocking a lot better in the run game. And so they've just been a better offensive line overall. But last week they got destroyed. The Rams can bring that kind of heat to the table with their front four. They, stunt a decent amount. They've got dominant front 4 pass rushers. Like, this is another tough assignment for this Jags offensive line. Can they do better than they did a week ago?
Hey, guys, real quick. Only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that. Hit that subscribe button, and now let's get back to the action. And to beat the pass rush, you need a quarterback getting rid of the ball quickly, so like everything we just mentioned about the old men at the top of the show. If they're going to mitigate the opposing pass rushes, they get rid of it quickly, and it's not just a quarterback thing, it's a receiver thing. And right now we have Brian Thomas Jr., he's the number 1 receiver. He usually runs more vertical type of routes. He's not necessarily going to be your either hot against the blitz or your, guy who's going to win. He's not catching 900 slants,
Right.
He's more of a vertical receiver. I do wonder if this is more Travis Hunter time. Liam Cohen implying that there'll be a few more first read type of plays, featuring Travis Hunter, I believe was the implication in what he said in his press conference, against a Rams pass rush where you just got sacked, 6 or 7 times last week against Seattle. I do wonder if this is more of the quick-hitting pass game, get the ball out of Trevor Lawrence's hands. And, oh, by the way, one of the things Lawrence has been good at historically is a lower sack rate, or low sack rate when he's under pressure. Him going down as often as he did last week, I wonder if that leads to big changes for this Jags offense where they're just trying to get the ball out of his hands.
Yeah, and they, I think, need to for this type of game. The quick stuff is also not generally a strength of Trevor Lawrence's. It's just not. It's not. It's not the style of quarterback that he is, and one of his biggest weaknesses throughout his entire career has been feeling a tick late on a lot of things. You're not going to be able to do that in this game. If you are, like last week, sacked a ton, and his average time to throw was huge, in part because he was under pressure a lot and trying to extend the play. But you want the result of that to be the opposite. Like, okay, we're getting buried here. Let's try and get the ball out lightning quick, and it didn't happen last week. It needs to happen in this game.
Lawrence goes back and forth between, I feel like he's rushed at times and then a tick slow at other times. When he's cooking, though, again, I keep going back to the back-to-back throws he made against Kansas City were out of this world, right? He puts it right on Brian Thomas Jr.'s hands on the comeback, on the go ball, but during the comeback against Kansas City. And then the next pass, he's ripping the deep out that with precision. When he can hit his back foot and just let it go, he is at his best. And I think that's always about the coaches and the scheme putting him in position to do that. So I think some in-rhythm pass game for Jacksonville is going to be huge against the Rams here. And I do wonder if there's more Travis Hunter involved.
And I think there should be more of, more early looks for Travis Hunter because, we were starting to see the last couple of weeks what he can do with the ball in his hands. Rarely is the first guy able to tackle him. He makes those guys miss really easily. His suddenness, his quickness, all that still works at this level. Get him the ball quicker.
The Rams are another fascinating case. I think Stafford's throwing the ball extremely well this year. They're just leaving something on the table when it comes to red zone, finishing drives. Even if they don't have a Puka Nacua, this is why you have a Devontae Adams. They're great together as a 1-2 punch, but it's why, can Devontae Adams be a 15-target player in a game?
Well, that's interesting because I don't first question would be, do they just feed all of the targets? Does he go to being a 15, 20-target guy the way Puka Nacua has been just because he's the best receiver left and that's where you're going to go with the ball? He's not a like-for-like replacement. I do think
completely different stylistically.
People are down on Adams at the moment because his production isn't particularly high, and Puka Nacua has been getting all the targets. I don't think if you watch his tape, I don't think you're looking at a guy who's just cooked, and that's the reason he's not getting the ball. Even in, was it last week? If you look at the red zone, he's the guy where Matthew Stafford is missing him, right? For some reason, all the misses Stafford has are all in the direction of Devontae Adams. I don't know that it's necessarily that they're not on the same page. It's miscommunication or lack of chemistry. I think he's just unfortunately been the result of all of Stafford's misses for a while. But I don't think you can just sort of plug him into Puka Nacua's role and say, just go do what he did. So I wonder if you're going to see, a more of a distribution of the targets where Adams will get a lot more looks, but suddenly a guy like Jordan Whittington.
I was going to say Whittington, yeah.
Who's more stylistically like Puka Nacua gets more of those looks, or if they pivot towards the 2 tight end thing where they were supposed to. Remember, preseason, we're like, it's happening. McVay's finally going away from 11 personnel. We're going to see, tight ends involved, and that didn't really exist. But now, are we going to see more of the tight ends involved? How they react to not having Puka Nacua will be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I was going to mention Whittington as well, so I'm glad you did. I think he could be the guy that's getting some of those Puka targets for sure. It's going to be a fun matchup. I think there's some questions for the Rams in pass protection as well, similar to what Jacksonville just dealt with last week. I think both defensive lines can have some success. Should be a fun game at 9:30 a.m. Rams favored by 3 here, Sam. Where are you going to go with this one?
I'm going to go with the Rams. I'm favoring the teams with devastating pass rushes going up against not great offensive lines.
I think they both have that, though. Harry's going to take the Rams. I'm going with the Jags in the home game. I'm just kidding, Jag. It's not a home game. They get real sensitive. They involve. when you say that they're like the London.
Yeah.
They're not.
I mean, it's their own fault for sort of signing up for it.
They did, but they're not leaving Jacksonville. They're not leaving Jacksonville. They're going to be there forever. But I'll take the Jags as underdogs here.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
And the all-knowing algorithm is convinced you'll also like these videos, and who are we to argue?